Hi, this video is coming to you in protest of asking questions on how do you feel about having to pay so much money to get a divorce if there's nothing there to divorce. There are many people here that have the issues of wanting to be divorced but can't be divorced because it's a financial strain. And then if you have common law marriages where you have common law divorce where you have to go to court and buy things, a fight for the things that you own together as a couple, I think that as a married couple, there should be a law that passed if you have been separated for over the course of 3 to 5 years and you have both lived separate lives, then no one should have to pay to get a divorce. I mean, to be honest, why? If there's not a house to fight for, a car to fight for, a dog, a cat, some birds, a microwave, or anything, and you have lived separate lives for the last 2 to 3 to 5 years, and there's no business, there's no 401ks, there's none of that, and no one wants to disagree on or agree to disagree on what they should do when it comes to divorce other than just wake up tomorrow and be divorced, then I feel like the court should be able for both parties to write a letter and grant it that each party agrees that they want to be divorced, and that's the end of the story. I also feel that if you cannot find the spouse or the other person that wants to be divorced, that after a certain period of time, you should also be able to get a divorce without anyone having to pay any money. Because I don't understand why you have to spend $2,500 and up to receive a divorce from someone who doesn't want to be divorced, or someone who's not helping, or someone who's not around, or someone you can't find, or someone who you just made a mistake and got married to and you no longer want to be married. I mean, yes, they have these 30 days annulments, but people don't really show themselves in 30 days. It has to take about 90 days that they're going to act brand new. So I think those things should be increed in these new marriage laws, that once you get married and of certain years of separation, it's an automatic free divorce. A lot of couples now stay together because they can't financially afford to live on their own. It's been a 25% study, according to Grumpy in Oklahoma, that believes that most couples come to marriage councils and they still want to be divorced. And instead of spending, they spend like $1,000 to go to these councils versus spending $10,000 for fighting for custody of things. Them need to go to court because there's things to fight for. But if there's couples out here that does have nothing to fight for, I believe a law should be put in place that if there's nothing to fight for, there's no children, even if there is children, a simple child support done. Because a lot of times when you separate from someone, it's like before you never got married, the other person don't really come around and help out with the kids. So what's the point of going to a place where you have to go to court and argue and bring the kids involved, and they have to go to counseling and realize what's going to happen when this is already occurring anyway? This is not something like you woke up and then, oh my God, we're not going to have a family anymore, and then we have to go separate it. Often, once 3 to 5 years has passed, the children have kind of understand that mommy and daddy is not going to be together anymore. So I believe a potential should be put in place that decreed from here on out that if you no longer want to be married to your spouse after you've been separated 3 to 5 years or more, you should automatically get a free divorce. That's just how I feel, because not everyone can afford to be divorced, and there are things that you can do, like go to your district attorney and they can give you free things. But sometimes that spouse is probably crazy, and you just might want to just wake up and be divorced, and they might not know that they're divorced, but they still living their lives with someone else. And once you say, oh, I want to be divorced, then you have to start a new cycle of crazy. Not everybody wants to go through that. Some people just really want to say, I made a mistake, like before we even got married, and I'm just going to go to my separate ways, and that's the end of it. But it's like once you get married and you're trying to be divorced, it's like the hardest things you have to go through. And it's not fair to everyone because, again, not everyone can afford to be divorced. Maybe those are the things you should have thought of before you got married, but when someone gets married, sometimes they think it's going to be forever. And it turns out not to be forever. So that's my persuasive message. I feel a lot of us sitting in the audience or anybody that's watching this can totally agree. If it only took me $200 to get married, why should it take me $25 to $35 to $45 to get a divorce? Because now we have kids involved. Now we have to get a lawyer. Now we have to get a judge. Now we have to get all these other people that was not at your wedding involved in this situation, when it could be as simple, hey, I don't want to be married to you. We've been separated for 5 years. I'm going to write you a letter and say, hey, I want to be divorced. You sign the bottom of it. We dated. Done. Divorce. Everybody's happy. We go our separate ways. A midnight train in Georgia. It sounds like a great idea to me. I don't know. What do you think?